Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. Super excited to play some music. We're in the process of a move right now and packing boxes, and so yeah, very excited to be here and play some music. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Jason Paulson. I come from Excelsior, Minnesota. Currently living in Waconia for another week until we become homeless and our house is finished in Dayton. I have 3 children. Max is 14, Josie is 12, and Aiden is 4. I'm married to a beautiful woman named Jess. Yeah, I come from a pretty musical family. I'm going to tell some stories here a little bit between the songs and stuff. But this first song here is a song that whenever I'm asked to do a devotion, at least for the last couple of years, is a song I use just because I hear music in everything I do. Like, music is as much a part of me as anything else. So songs and moments are always attached to songs for me. So if I hear The Temptations singing My Girl, I can picture my wife walking down the aisle. If I'm Here Forever Young, I can remember, praying and thinking of songs before my son was born and in that moment. And so this is just one of those songs when I was on my way to practice one night, came on a Spotify playlist, and it just kind of crushed me and made me pull over and brought tears to my eyes in a great way. And actually changed my life because it was a moment where I was working. I'm a volunteer coach for Special Olympics. And I was working with one of the youth, raising money for an all-inclusive playground in Waconia. And I was so focused on a big picture that I was really missing all the cool moments of the concerts and the events, raising the money and up to it, and how much that could have changed people's lives. And this whole song, it's called Dream Small, and it's just about those little moments, how you can really make a difference with just a smile. Like, it doesn't take tons of money. It doesn't take tons of time. It could just be writing a card to a neighbor, who needs a little extra boost. It can just be a smile. It could be a hug when those are permitted again. It could be just little things, just taking the time to, to sing with your kids, or yeah. So I'm gonna play this song here and just hopefully you take a little of that out of it. Mama's singing songs about the Lord. His daddy's spending family time the world says he cannot afford. These simple moments change the world. He's a pastor at a tiny little church. 40 years of loving on the broken and the hurt. These simple moments change the world. So dream small, don't buy a lie, you gotta do it all. Just let Jesus use you where you are, one day at a time, and live well, loving God and others as yourself. Find little ways where only you can help. With His great love, a tiny rock can make a giant fall. So dream small. He's visiting a widow down the street, one dancing on a Friday with your friends with special needs. These simple moments change the world. Of course there's nothing wrong with bigger dreams. Just don't miss the minutes on your way to bigger things. These simple moments change the world. So dream small, don't buy a lie, you gotta do it all. Just let Jesus use you where you are, one day at a time, and live well,
Loving God and others is yourself. Find the ways where only you can help. With His great love, a tiny rock can make a giant fall. So dream small. Keep loving, keep serving, keep listening, keep learning, keep praying, keep hoping, keep seeking, keep searching out of the small things and watch them grow bigger. God who does all things makes oceans from rivers. So dream small, don't buy a lie, you gotta do it all. Just let Jesus use you where you are, one day at a time, and live well. Loving God and others is yourself. Find little ways where only you can help. With His great love, a tiny rock can make a giant fall. And dream small.
All right, now we're going to hear from 3 organizations that as a congregation we have helped. The first of them is Stepping Stone Emergency Housing in Anoka. It's the only homeless shelter serving youth over 18 and adults in the 5 neighboring counties. Christ Lutheran had been preparing and serving the evening meal every 3rd Thursday of each month until we had to close due to the virus. So here is Jeff O'Connor for Stepping Stone.
Hello. Hopefully everybody can hear me okay and see me okay. Good. Well, thanks so much for having me. Jason, that was a beautiful song. I loved listening to that. I loved watching the expressions on people's faces as they listened to it. That was really, really cool. Thanks for that this morning. So as Jason mentioned, Jeff Connor, I'm with Stepping Stone Emergency Housing as a development officer, and just wanted to give you a little bit of background information on our shelter and kind of where we're at through the pandemic and things like that. And then talk a little bit about how you guys might be able to get involved and help out our residents. So our mission is really what the shelter is all about, to provide emergency housing or emergency shelter and critical support services to individuals 18 and older as they strive toward their self-sufficiency. And that's a huge component for us, is that striving toward their self-sufficiency. They've got to be a part of the equation to finding stable housing. And so when they come on, they apply. I will tell you that pre-pandemic, we were about 357 people on our waiting list, and it always kind of hung out in that 300 to 350 people on our waiting list to come into shelter. And once the pandemic hit, that actually surged up to the highest it's ever been. I think over 450 people on the waiting list. Part of that is because we had to do a shutdown basically and not bring any new applicants in until we figured out how we were going to address the pandemic and allow for social distancing. So normally our shelter will house 66 individuals. We have a women's wing and a men's wing, and it's a pretty good balance of women to men. Like I said, 66. So in a congregate living environment, which is what we are, a pandemic becomes really problematic. So one thing that happened right away was shifting about half of our residents to an area motel just off of Highway 10 and Thurston Boulevard as an opportunity to create some social distancing. So some of our more mature, I guess, people who would better be able to take care of themselves and have a little bit more less guidance, I guess, were brought over to the hotel. They still have a case manager there. It's really pretty much the same. They just have their own room, and about 30 folks are there, 30 in the shelter. So it keeps us spaced out. An interesting thing that's been happening with our population is that the 55 and older demographic, we're starting to see a real uptick in that. And we figure that very soon those that aging population is going to actually outnumber our youth. And as that happens, as we get older, our health needs increase, our support needs increase, and our wages go down. And so when you're talking these folks who don't have a whole lot of support networks, one thing we like to say is if you had an emergency and you needed to borrow $1,000 to repair a furnace, today's a good example of a day where we might have something critical like that to need. Just imagine, are there 5 people who you could call? And many of our residents don't have a single person that they could call for help. And so we rely on support from folks like you guys to help us help our residents. Another thing we like to say, just something to keep in mind, is housing equals healthcare. And so what that means is that they found that statistically speaking, experiencing homelessness takes about 25 years off of the average life expectancy of a person. So just think, that's a staggering statistic, I think, and a staggering number that homelessness and the toll it takes on an individual's life. So currently, you guys have volunteered, I think, in the past and donated a meal. We're still doing that now. So if there's any opportunity for folks to bring in a meal and serve it, we're allowing 3 volunteers in to serve that meal to our residents. And we're actually, I think we just put out, it's March 4th, 5th, and 6th, or somewhere's in there, and I can send this out, get some better information on it. But we'll be getting our second round of vaccinations and anticipating that some of our staff are going to get ill and not be able to come in. And so we've just asked the community, we're trying to fill lunch and dinner meals on those 3 days following that second vaccination shot. So that's always an option too, not just on those 3 days, but we've always got needs for donated meals. The question was asked to me earlier, what happened with food once the pandemic hit? And that's been, it started out kind of problematic. Our food budget typically is about $2,500 a month for 66 people. That's not a whole lot of money. So we relied on a lot of area schools and a couple of area restaurants to give us their kind of excess food that they would have and leftovers. And that all went away once the pandemic hit. It's starting to come back now, so we're getting some of that food in, but always looking for those meal donations, really looking to improve our volunteer opportunities. So if anyone is interested in volunteering their time with Stepping Stone, helping our residents, we're going to be creating mentorship programs. We have folks who come in to just help serve a lunch or a dinner, help Tammy in the kitchen prepare it, and things like that. So lots of opportunities, and you can go to the Stepping Stone website. That's www.steppingstoneh for emergencyhousing.org. And you can fill out application for volunteering. I will get in touch with you. I do 2 orientations a month for our volunteers, and just want to create experiences for your volunteerism, and so that you get out of it what you want. So that's, I think, a pretty good update. Hopefully I didn't take too long there, and I'm happy to answer any questions if anybody has any.
Thank you so much, Jeff. That was a great update, and prayers to you always in the work you're doing. That's amazing, and especially through this pandemic. I can't even imagine how hard it's been. So, when I was asked to do this, I was unsure of whether I was supposed to play all church songs, all my own songs, if I was supposed to mix it around. And so I just kind of went with the title, and Sharing the Love, and this is a song that I wrote for my daughter Josie when she was 3. She's now 12. And at the time I had just stopped playing with my band Grayson, which had been relatively successful, and I had toured for the previous 12 years through most 50 states and in a few different countries and a couple different continents. And it was neat, and it was a lot of fun, but it was just missing kind of substance with what I was doing, and so I started off on my own, and I recorded this song and recorded a little video of it, and it ended up getting over 100,000 views on YouTube. It got picked up by a TV show in Europe as their theme song for about 4 years. And still, just the other day, I even got a video of a father and a daughter dancing their first wedding dance to this song, and I get lots of those moments with this song. So it's just neat that something that was so special between my daughter and me has spread throughout the world and been special for other people. So I'm going to play this song for you here.
As I sit here in the summer sun, a princess dances, her heart filled with love, as her melody escapes her words. Music flows through my little girl as she spins around with her daddy's eyes, a distant love as dreams fill her mind. I can't help wonder which road she'll take. I pray she don't make my mistakes. And have a good time, baby, have a good time, girl, as you make your way through this world. Please remember, as your road gets tough, I'll always have your daddy's love. So keep your strength and an open mind. We'll take a stand for what you know is right. Keep your promise and please try. Stay away from boys who will make you cry. Have a good time, baby, have a good time, girl, as you make your way through this world. Please remember, if your road gets tough, you'll always have your daddy's love. The years will pass and you will grow. Your daddy's gonna have a hard time letting go of his princess and his whole world. 'Cause I'll always love you, little girl.
It's a little strange because I don't see anybody's faces or anybody's responses, and so it's like I'm just kind of playing to Chance in the sound room. So maybe, Chance, if you could applaud after everyone, I would. Thank you. I want to play another song for my other daughter, Aiden, who is now 4. Like I said before, everything in my life, I don't take a lot of pictures and things like that because everything comes back to me in songs. I can remember songs from my childhood that bring me back to a Christmas moment with my grandparents or things like that. And so my set list now, ever since leaving Grayson, has just been filled with those moments, you know, kind of just like my life moments. So like if you come and see me at an event or with my band, I'll play a song by Prince because I'll introduce the fact that I got to hang out with him in the studio once. I'll play, just songs like that just mean something. A song that I sung on the reality TV show I was on, the Nashville Star, and things like that. Just I kind of incorporate that, and so I have a song for each of my kids in there, and my wife, and stuff that just remind me of those moments together. And this one here is for my daughter, Aiden. Her name's Aiden, which means fire in Gaelic, and she is full of fire, and she is a ray of light, and just she she never slows down. And so, like, sometimes I write the songs that meet my soundtrack in life, and sometimes I pick them up along the way. And this is one that just somebody wrote who must have a daughter very similar to mine.
You got your mama's sunshine, you got your daddy's rain, like a piece of heaven in a hurricane. Hands bubbling over like a sweet champagne. You got your mama's sunshine, you got your daddy's rain. Well, all day long, right or wrong, you question everything. Why the grass is green, can it stay up late, and why do the bluebirds sing? Sometimes you cry your big blue eyes for no discernible reason. Your point of view, it comes and goes like a changing of the season. You got your mama's sunshine, you got your daddy's rain. You're like a piece of heaven in a hurricane. You come bubbling over like a sweet champagne. You got your mama's sunshine, you got your daddy's rain. Well, you act just like your father, yeah, you laugh at your own jokes. You're pleased with your opinions, girl, and you want the world to know. We don't need no Mona Lisa, don't need Dali or Chagall, 'cause you're a miniature Picasso with your markers on the wall. You got your mama's sunshine, you got your daddy's rain. You're like a piece of heaven in a hurricane. You come bubbling over like a sweet champagne. You got your mama's sunshine, you got your daddy's rain. Things you say, the world you make, your heart I love to see. You got a leaf from every single branch of our family tree. When you're all grown up, no longer a pup, going out into the great unknown, you'll find that little piece of you, girl, that you can call your own. You got your mama's sunshine, you got your daddy's rain. You're like a piece of heaven in a hurricane. They come bubbling over like a sweet champagne. You got your mama's sunshine, you got your daddy's rain.
All right, I'm going to turn it over to David Fry now. We heard him speak in service not long ago, and it was one of the best messages I've heard all year. It was just great. So David Fry is from Family Promise in Anoka County. They provide temporary shelter and hospitality and case management to assist families experiencing homelessness. They just celebrated their 10th anniversary this past year, and Christ Lutheran Church has been involved since the beginning. So here's David Fry.
Hello. Thanks for having me and welcoming me back again here. I appreciate the opportunity. And like Jason said, I did just have the opportunity to talk with you at length with part of the service a couple weeks ago. So I'm just going to give a quick update, and then I'm going to have a story that is shared by Denise, a video that we have. And I'm hoping to be able to share that with you as long as my technology works on my end. Thinking through that first song that Jason played with the idea of dream small, that's kind of the space where Family Promise has started. The idea that everybody wants to be able to do something to help with homelessness, but we don't all necessarily have the capacity to do everything that's needed to be done to help with family homelessness. So Family Promise creates the network where each individual, each congregation is able to hold together what it is that they're able to do and collect that into one cohesive response to homelessness. In the time of COVID-19, we have had to change up the model that we use. The rotation of congregations, of which you've been a part since we started, we had to stop that because it wasn't possible to keep that running, both while congregations were closed and also while we were trying to help keep our families safe. So we, like Stepping Stone, moved families into the hotels and supported them there. And that actually allowed us to serve more families at once than we've ever served before. That was something that we never expected would have happened. So that's kind of where we've been in COVID-19. The other thing that I would say is that we have had a lot more need from families that we helped in the past. It's always been the case that we stay open. Families that have left Family Promise and moved into housing, we'll continue to work with them as long as they may need that. And when we saw the first round of job losses, we saw a big influx of people that needed our help to stay housed. And we were really proud of the fact we were able to do that. Our best estimate is that about 80% of those who we had previously helped that were still in contact with us lost significant income in March and April at the time that the COVID-19 pandemic was really ramping up and a lot of job losses were happening. And so it really affected people that are on the bottom end of the economic spectrum in our society, and we were glad to be able to help them in that way. And thank you for joining with us too. I'm going to work on trying to share this video with you all. The person that's in the video, her name is Denise, and this video is about 4 minutes long. She walks us through when she became homeless all the way into the point in which she became a homeowner, and you all were part of her story. Because not only did she stay at your church twice while you were hosting Family Promise, but you also helped prepare her home for her. Your team came out and spent one whole day painting the entire inside of her house and got that done amazingly in one day. I had 2 days expected. Y'all are professionals, so that was pretty fantastic. But I just want to have the opportunity here for you to hear Denise's story in her words. So I'm hoping that this works.
I am Denise, and I am a mother of 2. I've been living in Anoka County for about 7 years. I lived in an apartment for about 5 years. I was getting a little irritated with my management because they were coming into my apartment when I wasn't there taking things. I know they're supposed to give you a 24-hour notice, but they were not doing that. So I decided that I wanted to move. I put my 2 months notice in, and I still wasn't able to find an apartment. I did go and try to ask to see if they would let me stay, but they told me no. And so that's how I became homeless. I wasn't able to find an apartment. I didn't know what to expect at this shelter, but you know, this is what I had to do. I had to suck up my pride and everything that I didn't want to do. I could have slept in my car, you know, if it was just me, but my children, knowing that they were able to come and have somewhere warm and being able to eat, being able to get their rest that they needed so they could go to school. Going into Family Promise, I was able to access the internet, to be able to look for housing, to be able to look for jobs, because I think I was only working one job, part-time job at the time. Coming into Family Promise, I was budgeting a little bit, but I wasn't really budgeting as much as when I was in Family Promise and they gave me the resources too. I stayed with Family Promise for 87 days. Family Promise has been a good community. They're there when we need them. I wanted to come back and I wanted to serve. I wanted to help other people that might have been like me, because who really wants to be homeless? Who really wants to be in this situation? Just because we're homeless doesn't mean something's wrong with us. I think it's a good thing for them to keep volunteering and donate, because just us being as human beings and needing one another, it's hard to ask for help. It gives you such a good feeling to make somebody feel better. We appreciate the donations that you give. Someone donated, and I was very appreciative of that, because I didn't have a bed, and someone purchased a bed for me when I moved into my apartment, so that was great that they did that. I really appreciated it. Family Promise approached me about the Homes for Keeps program. I was really hesitant about it because I had a lot of fears of safety. Would it be safe? Would I be able to keep up with the house? I didn't know how to take care of a yard, and yes, I knew how to shovel, but raking and trying to grow grass and planting flowers and things like that. So I still kind of have a little bit of those fears, but they reassured me that they're not going to leave me high and dry. But this was a fear of mine that I was like, oh my gosh, what if this breaks down and I don't have the money? We were excited that we found housing. I don't know, it was just an excitement that, finally, like a relief for all of us.
So hopefully that was something that worked, and some of you may have recognized Denise because she was someone who went from our program all the way from homelessness through our Homes for Keeps program that provides manufactured housing, rehabilitated by volunteers like those of you from Christ, and helps them into home ownership. So thanks again for your time today, and like Jeff, I could take questions, or we can hear again from Jason. Thanks. Days, yes, that is pretty common. The length of time has grown in the last couple of years as housing and stories like Denise's have really come into play. We just don't have enough housing locally. So our average stay is about 80 days as of last year, before pre-pandemic, that is. So thanks.
Thank you so much for sharing, David. It's just great work you're doing, and it's so neat to be a part of a church that partners with people like you. I'm going to play a couple more songs here. This one has been my family's pandemic soundtrack. My family is a family who likes to go out and serve. We're foster parents before the pandemic, and we often find at Feed My Starving Children and other places. But when the pandemic hit, most of the things that we did closed down. I went from playing about 250 nights of music to 0, and so we couldn't really serve in the ways that we once did. And so we kind of, as a family, gathered, and we're like, well, we're gonna do what we can do, right? We're gonna smile. We're gonna put that extra love in our hearts, and if we're walking down the street and see somebody, we're gonna wave and put on big smiles. If we see a fireman or police or that drive by, we're going to wave and smile. We're going to be kinder to each other, give each other space when it's needed, and just putting extra love in our hearts. And so I'm going to sing you this song here. First, I'm going to make sure I'm in the right key.
Think of the world his friends, lend him a helping hand, put a little love in your heart. I know you see it's getting late, oh please don't hesitate, put a little love in your heart. In the world will be a better place, in the world will be a better place for you and me. You just wait and see. Another day goes by and still the children cry. Put a little love in your heart. You want the world to know we won't let hatred grow. Put a little love in your heart. In a world will be a better place, in a world will be a better place for you and me. You just wait and see. Put a little love in your heart. Everybody now, put a little love in your heart. All across the world, put a little love in your heart. Put a little love in your heart. Take a good look around, and if you're feeling down, put a little love in your heart. I hope and you decide kindness will be your guide. Put a little love in your heart. In the world will be a better place, in the world will be a better place for you and me. And just wait and see. Put a little love in your heart. Everybody now, put a little love in your heart. All around the world, put a little love in your heart. Put a little love in your heart. All right, one more song before we get to our last speaker here, and I'm going to play a song. I was raised by my grandparents. I had a mother who struggled with addiction and mental health, and a father who was an alcoholic and a traveling musician. So I landed at my grandparents' house, thankfully, and it was a beautiful upbringing. I was raised in a Catholic church. When my dad would come to town, we would go to his Baptist church, so I would be influenced by music. And this next song is a song. My grandparents were both musicians. My grandma was always the interim choir director or pianist or organist, whatever they needed at the time at the church, and often I would be up directing a choir with her at like 15, 16 years old. But then I was completely unchurched for quite some time, and then I came back to a bunch of non-denominational churches before landing in the Lutheran world for the last 12 years. And this song here is one of those songs that I said my grandma and grandpa were musicians, and every Sunday night we'd have all my grandpa's friends, jazz musicians, country musicians. Also, my great-grandparents are musicians, and my uncles are musicians, and my dad is a musician. And so, and it spans a lot. My grandpa was jazz. My great-grandma and grandpa played on the Sun Valley Barn Dance, a radio show that turned into a TV show. My Uncle Stymie was in the Daisy Dillon Band, signed to RCA and things like that. So we'd all get together on Sunday night, because most musicians don't play on Sunday night. And as a kid, it was the best guitar lessons I've ever had in my life. All these random people playing songs, and this is the first time I truly believed in heaven when I heard this song. And I've played it ever since, and I've played it in Catholic churches for both my grandparents' funerals. I played it in a Baptist church. I played it at youth assemblies. I played it in non-denominational churches, and I've been playing it in the Lutheran world. I play it in bars. I played it in bars that were so rowdy I had chicken wire in front of me and people threw bottles at it. And no matter where it is, it seems like people know it, people sing it, and just people feel a little bit better after it. So I want to play this one for you here. Some glad morning when this life is over, I'll fly away to a home on God's celestial shores. I'll fly away. I'll fly away, oh glory, I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away. When the shadows of this life have grown, I'll fly away. Like a bird from prison bars have flown, I'll fly away. I'll fly away, oh glory, I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away. Just a few more weary days and then I'll fly away to a land where joy will never end. I'll fly away. I'll fly away, oh glory, I'll fly away. And hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away. I'll fly away.
I mean, that's weird that song reminds me of love, but this next, thanks, Chance. These next speakers are Ellen and Bart Ward from Haven for Heroes. This is a really cool thing. My brother is a sergeant in the Army. He is getting ready to be deployed again to Kuwait. This will be his third deployment. And his family has certainly used services like this throughout his times in the service over the past, I suppose 15, 16 years, maybe more than that. Probably 21 years he's been in, maybe. Yeah, so this is just amazing. Bart and Ellen are from Haven for Heroes, which was founded in 2018. It provides recovery and transitional housing to service members and veterans. CLC's connection came right after the virus hit us. We needed to clean out our freezers and refrigerators and completely packed a car right up to the ceiling with food that we knew might be of help elsewhere. So here's Ellen and Bart.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I see the church is 61 years old, huh? You had your 60th last year? As a longtime board member of the Anoka County Historical Society over 20 years, I hope that your history, you've gotten some of your history to the County Historical Society. And if you haven't, please contact us here in Anoka. Stepping Stone is a neighbor of ours. We are located on the Anoka County Human Services campus at the old state hospital, which the campus was built almost 20 years from about 1901 to almost 1920 to build that campus out. We have control of 4 of the historic buildings. We have cottages 2, 3, 4, and the auditorium. And our mission is to provide support and housing for U.S. military veterans. Cottage 2 is designated for men. We can house 27 men in the building. These, if you've never been to the campus, these are 25,000 square foot modern Gothic buildings. And Cottage 4 is dedicated to women, veterans, and children. In that building, we can hold approximately 25, 26 of women and children. And we are really in the business of doing two things. One, supporting the veteran community, and number two, preserving and restoring historic buildings. These buildings, all four of these buildings need a lot of work. We've had over 700 volunteers. We've probably put $3 million into those four buildings so far, and we are not done yet. Cottage 3 is under heavy construction right now. We are a sober environment. A lot of our veterans come out of the St. Cloud Residential Recovery Treatment Program. They've had drug and alcohol issues. And so we're mostly transitioned, but I will tell you that we do have some veterans who will probably never leave us. We have people who have traumatic brain injury, PTSD. We have some older folks that probably won't leave us, but for the most part, most of our veterans will transition out. We're sort of a full service operation. We're not just housing. We strongly believe in providing work solutions, training. We have tied ourselves up with probably 25 to 30 different veteran organizations from both of the major VAs in Minneapolis and St. Cloud, to the Vet Center that just moved from Brooklyn Park into downtown Anoka, to the Minnesota Alliance Council for Veterans, MACV, a really interesting group that's hosted by Cargill, sponsored by U.S. Bank, Eagles Group of Minnesota Veterans, just a great group of people who help veterans further their careers, network. They bring HR managers from many, many different places in the Twin Cities and beyond to help veterans get on their feet. And actually, that group is a little bit more career oriented, professional career oriented, where a state group like Helmets to Hard Hats, that's a state-sponsored program, is geared more toward blue collar and trades. So our board is small. It's comprised of Ellen and myself, our state senator, Jim Abler, and his wife, Barb, and the commander of the Legion here in Anoka, Doug Hookham. We have 5 people on the board, but we have a lot of friends who are helping us across the country. We've been fortunate enough to have large and small donations from as far away as New York, California, Florida. People find out about us so many different ways. And so I'm going to let Ellen just say a couple of words. We have an intake process. We are not a shelter. We're licensed under Anoka County's lodging. And one of the things we have to do is get it right when we bring someone in. I think your other 2 guests could tell you that you can have 1 or 2 people come into a place like the Haven, Stepping Stone, other places like ours, and turn the place upside down. And so we want to make sure we're not in the volume business. We're in the quality business. We want to make sure that we can help the folks who come to Haven for Heroes. And there's some people that we probably can't help. And so getting it right on the front end is going to make it a lot better on the back end for the folks who are already at the Haven and for the folks who come into the Haven. So Ellen, maybe you can say a few words.
So when we do an intake, we do a background check. We do a background check on our volunteers too, because we just want everybody that is in the house to be safe. And there are some people who have violence in their past, and I can't bring them into a house because I jeopardize the men, women, and children that are there. So we do screen people. and we look for accountability. And there are a lot of times that people have been in trouble. Those people can still come in, and we want them in. It's when they get to a point where they really want to have help. And it's harder for veterans to ask for help probably than any other group, because they're the ones that served their country. And so there's a real reluctance to ask for help. And so sometimes it's really difficult. And when they come in, they're scared. They are really scared. They don't know, they've never been in this position before, many of them. And so they don't know what to expect, but they're expecting the worst, and they're prepared for the worst. And that's one of the things that happens. You watch them over the first couple days, and they begin to relax, and they begin to breathe, and they begin to not be insecure about their environment. And we really, it's like a family. And I'm finding this out with veterans, is that they really care for each other and look out for each other. And our community looks out for them. And our community has been so generous. Our facilities are lovely. And part of the reason is because of groups like yourselves that donate. Everything we have is donated. And we use every donation and every single dime. We make really good use of everything. There's no paid staff. I got a call yesterday from somebody that asked, what are your administration costs? We don't have an administration cost. So it's through our community, and our community serves us well. And we are really eternally grateful for churches and for people in our community taking an interest in this.
So again, thank you for inviting us. I like the good work that all the community of churches at a time when the country is really going through a lot of trials and tribulations. It's really important to double down on your faith and don't lose sight of the long-term picture. Our project is a long-term picture. There's times, particularly Cottage 3, if we would not have gotten Cottage 1 and 2 and 4 done, I would have said we probably can't get 3 done, because 3 is a wreck, a complete train wreck. And thanks to the largest roofing company in the world, GAF, out of New Jersey, they got wind of us and built a $250,000 roof system out of Elkhart, Indiana, and shipped it directly to us and warranted that system for 5 years. We had 7 contractors that did the tear off and the put on. One Minneapolis contractor spent 7 weeks on that roof, laying 1,000 pieces of custom-made step tin and 600 feet of riglet, and they wouldn't take a dime of our money to pay for it. So we have a great region here. We have generous people in the state of Minnesota in this region, and the best of the best. I believe. I've lived in California. I grew up here. My family came to Winoka County in 1852. But I can tell you that there are some awesome people in this region, and it's been just an honor to serve veterans and serve the community at large. Thank you.
Thank you. And I wanted to tell you too that I'm very proud of the fact that we have not had even one case of COVID. Not one. We are the only one in Winoka County, a residential facility like our. Pardon?
I don't know about the only one. I don't think Stepping Stones had an outbreak.
I thought they had one.
Maybe.
But at any rate, we have not had any, and I'm pretty proud of that. So thank you again.
And thank you so much, Ellen and Bart, for all you're doing. This is the last song I'm going to play and I was asked to play something prayer-like. I'm going to leave you with my favorite hymn, because if I was going to say a prayer right now for anybody in COVID, it would just be that, know that every win, every celebration, every heartache, every loss, everything you're going through, that you have a friend right beside you who knows your struggles, who knows your joys. So don't be afraid to talk to him, to cry with him, to share those celebrating moments with him. Yeah, when I was in high school, I helped my grandma with the choir on this song. And when we got home, I told her, I think this song is a country song. And she said, no, it's not. So I went upstairs and worked it up in a country style. And boy, did she have a giant smile on her face. So this is my favorite hymn, done in my 17-year-old self, country style.
What a friend we have in Jesus, all our sins and griefs to bear. What a privilege to carry everything to God in prayer. Oh, what peace we often forfeit. Oh, what needless pain we bear. All because we do not carry everything to God in prayer. Every trials and temptation, is there trouble anywhere? We should never be discouraged. Take it to the Lord in prayer. Can we find a friend so faithful, who with all our sorrow share? Jesus knows our every weakness. Take it to the Lord in prayer. Take it to the Lord in prayer.
Thank you so much for allowing me to do this. I really appreciate it. Thank you for all the speakers. They were all wonderful. Thank you for all the work they're doing. And thank you, WELCA, for all the work you're doing and putting this on. I am going to turn it over now to Sherry Kraber.
Hi, thank you, Jason, for that wonderful music, for sharing your musical talents. And also thank you for donating some CDs that we can give away to our members who have attended today. And so I have drawn 3 names, and those 3 people will reach out to you to coordinate getting you your prize. I want to just say to everyone to keep sharing your love wherever you can. Have a wonderful 2021. Our 3 CD winners today are Kathy Hansen, Nancy Lewis, and Molly Lechner. So congratulations to all of you. Now I'm going to pass the meeting over to Janet Beto for a special presentation.
Good morning. Today, we are celebrating the WELCA Epiphany event, a month later than usual, but so nice to share the day, and it's been a great program. Today, I speak for all the women of CLC. We are truly going to miss you, Pastor Sarah. You have been the brightest light in our lives. May your new position bring you much happiness and fulfillment. We will remember you with warm thoughts and memories. A fleece blanket has been made for you as a thank you for all you have done for us. Wrap yourself in it and feel all our arms around you. I don't know if Chance has got to put the picture up.
And what a beautiful, beautiful blanket. And I certainly use a lot of them, particularly on cold days like what we have this past week. And to think about all the ways, whether it's blankets or quilts or pillowcases, that you all are so great at wrapping everybody in your love, including myself. And sorry, like I say, so thank you. As I was sitting here listening to, as you commented, such great music from Jason and the speakers and so forth, it made me think about how I'm really pleased to be going to an organization that tries to do some of the great work that Stepping Stone and Family Promise and Haven for Heroes certainly does. And so I am making that transition next week, starting Tuesday, to Lutheran Social Services, who just has a wide variety of ways that they seek to serve neighbors in need all throughout our state. And I'll be working in that development department, doing a lot with the events that they do, kind of a project manager sort of role. I'll be doing some writing as well, be doing some interfacing with donors, and hopefully still being able to be rostered. That's still getting worked out, but what that'll mean is maybe some interfacing with congregations. So maybe much like David Fry came to Christ Lutheran to talk about, I may go to other congregations to share about LSS and all the ways that wonderful ministries like Christ Lutheran and WELCA and so forth really support the mission of LSS ultimately, right? So we can all create a better world as God intends. And so one of the things I was thinking about with you all in WELCA, and actually I was talking to Betsy earlier this week, and she said, I think you should share this on Saturday. The WELCA ladies might like it. So I'll share this story that it was my second interview at Christ Lutheran, so back in the summer of 2014, and I was asked to come back, and so great for that, but it was being held off-site because it wasn't able to be put on site, or the interview held on site, because it was the rummage sale. And there was stuff that was all around. And so I had my interview at a call committee member's home, but I remember saying, like, well, I would love to see the space. Like, I would love just to walk around and so forth. And folks were like, well, we don't know. I mean, there's just stuff everywhere and so forth. And I said, that's okay. And so that was really my first introduction to a rummage sale, right? It was during my second interview. And little did I know how that rummage sale would be such a gift to the whole congregation, not only because we get to clean out some of our stuff and donate, but more importantly, how the money raised gets used for the church, for the community, for so many people in need. So just kind of a fun tidbit of a story, certainly something we have benefited from. And there's so much more I could say, right? For the heart that you all have, for the way that you all support one another and have a passion and a mission for helping others in need, as well as still holding on to some of the traditions like these Epiphany events, right? That even in pandemics, we can still find ways to gather and see that God's light and bright star shines in our world, even if it seems sometimes like it's a cloudy day and the brightness isn't as bright, that God's light still shines. And I certainly have always appreciated that about Christ Lutheran, the ways that the brightness of your faith has always been revealed, and that is beautiful. And so I know it will continue, right? I know it will continue because you rely on your faith and your love of God to sustain you. And so that is certainly my prayer for you. So I got off my game when I started to cry. So sorry, ladies. But I'll close in time of prayer. I think I don't recall if Misha was gonna have any other final words or not. She might be shaking her head. So yes, I get to close this out today. Yes, again, just great thanks for Jason hearing his stories and his stories of faith and what a gift he is to Christ Lutheran and all of the partner organizations from WELCA and the larger ministry of CLC. Hopefully you can carry that into the rest of your day. So as we close our time together, let's close with prayer. Oh God, you come to us through your Son, Jesus, a bright light in our lives. May the brightness of that morning star be what the thing that guides us in all that we say, all that we do in our thoughts and in our prayers. May it be the guiding part of all ministries at Christ Lutheran and all ministries of WELCA. Give thanks for the whole of WELCA, for the board, for all the members, for the people who support and participate, whether it's regular events that can happen in ordinary times or events during pandemic times. We see the ways that your goodness shines through us. Continue to be with this group of women. Continue to make them bold in their faith, courageous in their actions, always carrying your gospel in and of and to the world. I give my own thanks for each and every one of them and the ways they have meant so much in my life and the ways that they mean so much in all of our church staff's lives and so many. So continue to bless the work that you do, that they do, knowing that you are alongside of them. The brightness of your light shines in each of us. And as we depart this day of a Just Love event of this weekend, may we do our best to live your love in all that we do. We pray this in your holy name. Amen. All right.